හරිම සුළුයි.
Tonight on First at 9 this Sunday, the 4th of February 2024. 76 years since, Sri Lanka celebrates 76 years of independence. President in his message urges all Sri Lankans home and abroad to help rebuild Sri Lanka. Building bridges. Thai Premier Thavisin reveals plans to construct a land bridge connecting the Andaman Sea and the Gulf of Thailand. Further reveals Thailand will reach out to help Sri Lanka's economic resurgence. Slammed. Foreign Minister Sabri accuses the EU for maintaining double standards when responding to certain global conflicts.
It's important in order to gain credibility that same standard and respect should be given to all conflict in order to achieve long-lasting peace.
ඔබේ විශ්වාසය දෙනු සෙන්සුරයින් දැන් ළඟමැති ෆාමසියෙන් ලබාගත හැක.
This is AdaDerana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to AdaDerana First at 9. I'm AdaDerana Singh joining you live with the latest in Sri Lanka and around the world. Now in your top story tonight, the 76th National Independence Day celebration was held with pomp and circumstance at Golfes, Colombo under the theme Let's Build a New Country. The national ceremony chaired by President Ranil Wickremesinghe was honoured by the presence of the Thai Premier Shreta Thavisin. In his Independence Day message, President Wickremesinghe invited all Sri Lankans residing in Sri Lanka and abroad to contribute their utmost to the noble mission of rebuilding Sri Lanka.
The 76th National Independence Day celebration was held at Golfes, Colombo from 7:30 am onwards today. This year, the theme of the national celebration was Let's Build a New Country. Following the arrival of the distinguished invitees, including members of the diplomatic missions in Sri Lanka, the commanders of the Tri-Forces, the Acting Inspector General of the Police, the Chief of Defence Staff, the Secretary to the Ministry of Defence, the Chief Justice, the Speaker of Parliament and Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena arrived at the site of the celebrations. This year, Prime Minister of Thailand Shreta Thavisin attended the Independence Day as its chief guest.
ජයන්ත ජයසූරිය මැතිතුමා සහ එම මැතිණියගේ පැමිණීම ශ්‍රී ලංකා ප්‍රජාතාන්ත්‍රික සමාජවාදී ජනරජයේ ගෞරවාමාත්‍ය දිනේෂ් ගුණවර්ධන මැතිතුමාගේ පැමිණීම නිදහස් දින සැමරුම් උළෙලේ සම්භාවනීය. The formal festivities commenced after the arrival of the president, who inaugurated the ceremony by raising the national flag, after which the national anthem was sung. සේවා සේනාධිනායක රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මැතිතුමා සහ මහාචාර්ය මෛත්‍රී වික්‍රමසිංහ මැතිණියගේ
Subsequently, a 2-minute silence was observed to honour all of Sri Lanka's fallen war heroes and patriots. The ceremony continued with a 21-gun salute followed by the Independence Day parade featuring the Tri-Forces, the Police, the Civil Defence Force and the National Cadet Corps. The parade also featured combat vehicles of the Tri-Forces with 22 retired officers and 29 disabled soldiers also joining the parade.
ජාත්‍යාභිමානයේ විදහා දැක්වෙන නිදහස් දින උළෙලේ සිංහ ප්‍රතිභාවයි දැන් අපිට දක්නට ලැබෙන්නේ. ශ්‍රී ලංකා සිංහ රෙජිමෙන්ට් කණ්ඩයට අණ දෙන්නේ මේජර් ඉරෝෂණ හිරක්.
இப்பொழுது உங்கள் முன்பாக அணிவகுத்து செல்வது 1979
ශ්‍රී ලංකා සන්නහසන්නත් බලකා රථ පෙළපාලය ආරම්භ කරමින් ලුතිරන් කර්නල් වෙනුර දිසානායක අනදෙන ශ්‍රී ලංකා සන්නහසන්නත් බලකා සන්නද්ධ රථ පෙළයි දැන් එක්වන්නේ 76 වන නිදහස් සමරු රථ පෙළපාලයට දැන් එක්වන්නේ කමාන්ඩෝ රෙජිමෙන්තුව භාවිතා කරන මොබයිල් ඇඩ්ජස්ටබල් RAM සිස්ටම් යුනිබබල් රථයයි.
Meanwhile, several ships of the Sri Lanka Navy took to the sea off the coast of Golface Green and joined the Independence Day parade.
Today's parade naval end is commanded by Commander Wajira Bandara.
Simultaneously, the national celebration also included an impressive air show featuring F-7 aircrafts.
Guardians of the skies, the Sri Lanka Air Force with the leadership.
දජේ රැගත් බෙල් 212 සහ ඊට පිටුපසින් බෙල් 412 වර්ගයේ හෙලිකොප්ටර් යාන පුවනේ ව්‍යාසර
30 paratroopers of the armed forces and the police then took to the skies and honoured Sri Lanka's Independence Day celebrations with a parachute show.
පෙළපාලයට පැරචුට් බටින්ගේ අභිමානය කරමින් ජාතික දජය රැගෙන ගෝනේ සිටට දෙරට පියනගන්නේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා යුද හමුදාවේ කමාන්ඩෝ නාවික හමුදා විශේෂ යාත්‍රා බලගණේ අනදෙල්ධාරී කපිතන් ධර්මසිරි හේරත් ශ්‍රී ලංකා පොලිස් දජය රැගෙන පැමිණෙන්නේ පොලිස් පරීක්ෂක යහන් පඬිවිට.
As the military parade concluded, a dance show featuring local cultural elements was added to the festivities, showcasing Sri Lanka's national pride, unity and resilience. The 76th National Independence Day commemoration finally concluded with the singing of the national anthem in Tamil. In the meantime, in his Independence Day message, President Ranil Wickremesinghe invited all Sri Lankans residing in Sri Lanka and abroad to contribute their utmost for the noble mission of rebuilding the nation. Highlighting the accomplishments of the recent past, the President added that achievements were realized progressively owing to the steadfast support of the country's citizens who endured hardships in keeping with a comprehensive long-term national rebuilding program. He further said it is imperative that all of Sri Lanka obtains insights from past mistakes and avoid their repetition. Further, Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena too in his message added that Sri Lanka is celebrating Independence Day at a time when the country is slowly returning to the right path of progress after facing an unprecedented economic crisis. He said in his Independence Day message that we are crossing those difficult hurdles by embarking on a number of measures towards food security, rural revitalization and a productive economy. He added that the 76th National Independence Day will be marked as a new turning point in the economy in anticipation of overcoming challenges and building a prosperous country. He further urged everyone to move forward together for development and progress of the country while preserving freedom. Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa in his Independence Day message said the commitment to securing freedom is the responsibility of all citizens of the country and the unconditional commitment to securing freedom is the responsibility of the rulers. It further added that the respect of the nation should be paid to all those who sacrificed their lives to overcome all challenges faced by the nation as a result of supreme freedom. The opposition leader further added that it has been 76 years since Sri Lanka won independence. However, Sri Lanka has failed to make independence gained more meaningful nationally, economically, socially and religiously.
Now, as Sri Lanka's Independence Day celebrations were held as such in Colombo, 5 students of the University of Jaffna were arrested by the police in Kilinochchi while the students were marching in protest of the 76th Independence Day celebrations. The protest march, named the Black Independence Day celebration, took to the streets today, highlighting several concerns including the failure of the government to resolve the issues grappling the people in Sri Lanka's north and east. Politicians including leader of the Ilanke Tamilarusu Katchi S. Sritharan and MP Charles Nilmananathan also participated at the protest march today.
A protest march was organized this morning by students of the University of Jaffna and several civil society organizations against the celebration of the 76th Independence Day. Accordingly, the protesters marched from Iranamadu to Kilinochchi, raising concerns over the failure of the government to resolve the issues faced by the people of the north and the east, and the adoption of laws that pose a threat to both the freedom of expression and media. Several politicians, including the leader of the Ilanke Tamilarusu Katchi and MP Charles Nirmalanathan, joined the protest march named Black Independence Day celebration. However, the riot police obstructed the protest march before the protesters were able to reach their destination. Subsequently, the protesters continued to engage in protests, impeding traffic along the Jaffna Kandy Road. As the protests raged on, a tense situation arose when the police attempted to disperse the crowd. During tensions, 5 students were arrested by the police in Kilinochchi area for inconveniencing the general public. The protesters, however, later dispersed after the protest.
Now, Thai Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin, who visited Sri Lanka upon the invitation of President Ranil Wickremesinghe, left the island earlier today. Before his departure, the Thai Premier attended the Sri Lanka-Thailand Business Forum hosted at the Kingsbury Hotel last evening. Addressing the gathering at the Business Forum, Thai Prime Minister Thavisin highlighted that Thailand identifies Sri Lanka as a crucial partner in the nation's ambition to become a logistics hub in Southeast Asia. To realize Thailand's ambition as such, the Thai Premier revealed plans of constructing a land bridge to connect the Andaman Sea with the Gulf of Thailand. President Ranil Wickremesinghe expressed his enthusiasm towards the Thai Prime Minister's proposed land bridge and further highlighted that the bilateral discussions between the Thai Premier focused on several key points, including the modernization of the agriculture and fisheries sectors of Sri Lanka.
Prime Minister of Thailand Srettha Thavisin arrived in Sri Lanka yesterday upon the invitation of President Ranil Wickremesinghe. During the course of yesterday, the Thai Premier presided over the signing of the historic Sri Lanka-Thailand Free Trade Agreement along with the Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe. On the sidelines of the Thai Premier's visit to Sri Lanka, a Thailand-Sri Lanka Business Forum was held at the Kingsbury Hotel last evening. The forum was graced by representatives of reputed and world-renowned Thai businesses.
The signing of the FTA between Thailand and Sri Lanka is a testament to the confidence in the potentials of our economies. In the trade sector, our bilateral trade last year saw a growth of 16%, accounted for 7.4% and 43% increase in export from Thailand and Sri Lanka, respectively. In the manufacturing sector, Sri Lanka seafood processing stands prominent among others. The collaboration between companies from our two countries have the potential to supercharge this industry to market around the globe. In the service sector, Thailand can contribute to the Sri Lankan growing hospitality industry, ranging from food and beverages to hotel supplies, as well as skills development and capacity building through cooperation between our academy and hospitality institutes. In the tourism sector, both sides can take advantage of the close cultural and religious bonds between our peoples. I just informed the President and members of the press earlier that Thai Airways International will resume daily commercial flights between Bangkok and Colombo on 31st of March of this year. On the investment front, I encourage more Thai companies to take advantage of Sri Lanka's growing infrastructure projects and tariff advantages in markets such as India, UAE and EU. On the maritime connectivity front, Sri Lanka can be a key partner in Thailand's aspiration to become the logistic hub in Southeast Asia with our land bridge project that will connect the Andaman Sea with the Gulf of Thailand and reduce the transit time between the Pacific and the Indian Oceans. Thailand is open for business. Not just you coming to us, but we are coming to you to help to grow your economy, move together into the exciting world.
The development of the Asian economies are coming in from Asia Pacific to the Indian Ocean, and more so to the East African countries. We were there, I was there just 2 weeks ago. The potential by the mid-century will be there. So here are two countries, one at a strategic location in the Asia Pacific and another here. So let's get together. And that's why I welcome the Prime Minister's proposal on the land bridge of Kra Canal. Well, from there, The ports of Sri Lanka are open. Colombo, Hambantota. We are developing Trincomalee with India, which means when the connectivity comes to India, whole of South India can come to Trincomalee and use the Kra land bridge. It's up to you, Prime Minister, to market it there in India. We are ready for it. We also discussed some of the other issues, areas. I said renewable energy. If you can put floating solar, then we have enough reservoirs in Sri Lanka. We built enough for them. They are the ones built by the ancient kings and the ones that we built 20 years ago. But we have excess renewable energy in Sri Lanka. We talked of agriculture modernization and fisheries modernization. In respect of fisheries, the two governments will work to get the private sectors on both sides together. We've asked for help with our private sector to join in how we can modernize agriculture. So there are many other areas, tourism, as you said. We are opening up. Some of your hotels are here. Government will make available land, historic buildings for this, and the plan will come out for the south very soon and for the Candian areas. Another area will be the historic cultural areas where Buddhism went from here to Thailand. So this is what I have to say. I have read a lot of it here in my speech, but I don't think I have to say all that. The Prime Minister and I have cleared the way. Now you all better get together and do the job.
In the meantime, President Ranil Wickremesinghe hosted a cordial meeting with the Thai Premier at the President's house in Colombo last night. During the meeting, both leaders engaged in friendly conversation, fostering diplomatic ties and discussing matters of mutual interest. Commemorating the visit, Thai Prime Minister Thavisin left a note in the special visitors book at the President's house. Marking the end of his two-day official visit to Sri Lanka, the Thai Prime Minister left the island earlier today.
Now, Minister of Foreign Affairs, President's Counsel Ali Sabri slammed Europe for maintaining double standards when responding to certain conflicts around the world. Addressing the outcomes of the 24th EU-ASEAN ministerial meeting at the meeting's closing ceremony held in Brussels, the minister highlighted the need for rules-based order to solve global conflicts.
It was agreed and stressed that peace and stability is prerequisite for the prosperity of the globe and the region. Parties also stressed and concerns regarding various conflicts, mostly based on the proximity to the conflict to them. Russian aggression was a major issue for our participants, particularly in the region, for obvious reason. It was stressed that the UN Charter on Sovereignty need to be respected. It was also brought to the notice of the participant by many countries about the manner in which the conflict in Gaza is turning out and the need to protect the human lives there. Some of the colleagues from the Indo-Pacific raised their concerns about the evolving situation in the South Sea, South China Sea and the South Sea. It's important all of them stress the need for rules-based order, and those rules need to be determined, and one or two powerful nations should not be allowed to change the rule to suit their convenience. It was also brought to the notice of alarming double standards when it comes to responding to some conflict in some areas where same standards were not given. So therefore it's important that in order to gain credibility, that same standard and respect should be given to all conflict in order to achieve long-lasting peace.
Now, in the local political front, parliamentarian of the National People's Power, Vijitha Herath, highlighted that all must unite to direct the country towards a new journey, adding that a country cannot be fixed without good governance. In the meantime, Secretary General of the Samaga Jana Balawega, Ranjit Madumbandara, says an SJB-led government will work towards punishing those engaged in corruption. With that, let's take a look at some views exchanged in the political arena today.
අවුරුදු 70ක ඉතිහාසය සමත් වී නැහැ අපේ රටේ ජාතික අභිලාෂයන් සහ ජාතික අරමුණු සාක්ෂාත් කරගන්න. අපි ඔක්කොම එකතු වෙලා අපේ රට නව මාවතකට යොමු කරමු. අපේ රටට නව පුනරුද්දී යුගයක් ආරම්භ කරමු.
මේක හුදෙක් අලිය දිනවනවද ටෙලිෆෝන් එක දිනවනවද මාලිමාව දිනවනවද කියන ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෙමෙයි. මෙච්චර කල් අපි එහෙම ඒවා කරා. හැබැයි අපි දිනුවේ නැහැ. රට දිනුවේ නැහැ. ඒ නිසා තමයි අපිට බල කිරලා තියෙන්නේ. ඔක්කොටම එකතු වෙලා මේ පාලකයෝ වට්ටපු රට මෙතනින් ගොඩ ගන්න අලුත් ගමනක් යන්නේ. පාලනේ ලස්සන කරන්න නැතුව රට ලස්සන කරන්න බෑ.
2015 යහපාලන ආණ්ඩුව ඇවිල්ලා දූෂණ විරෝධී කමිටුවේ සභාපති කරේ අනුර කුමාර දිසානායක. මොනවාද කරේ අනුරයි රනිලුයි මේව ඇල්ලුවත් අපේ රජයක් යටතේ මේ හොරුන්ට දඬුවම් දෙන්න අපි කටයුතු කරන විදිය අපි තමුන්නා අවසරයෙන් ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා.
3ක් ගත්ත කට්ටිය තව 47ක් හොයා ගන්නවා කියන එක ඉතින් මාර සීනයක්. මම ලංකාවේ ජීවත් වෙලා මම හිතනවා නම් මට කුමාරෙක් වෙන්න ඕනි කියලා සම්මට එක් කරන්න බෑනේ එංගලන්තේ කියලා. සමහරව වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ නිසා කැමතිද දුවා රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහට ඡන්දෙ දෙන්න වෙනවා. ඒකයි වෙන්නේ.
අරයව අපි හෙට උදේ හිරේට ගන්නවා බලයට ආවම පිටරට තියෙන මේගොල්ලන්ගේ දේපොළ අපි ගේනවා කියලා ජනතාව චූන් කරලා හරියන්නේ නැහැ. දැන් ජනතාවට අවශ්‍යයි විධිමත් වැඩපිළිවෙලක් මේ රට මෙතනින් ඔබට ගෙනියන්න.
Now, leader of the notorious crime syndicate Ava was arrested in Mount Lavinia earlier today. He was nabbed by the authorities while he was attempting to flee the country. In Badulla, meanwhile, a 15-year-old child was severely injured in an accident. With that, let's take a look into developments around the island in brief.
The leader of the notorious crime syndicate infamous as Ava, responsible for committing various crimes in Jaffna including extortion, was arrested in Mount Lavinia today. The arrest was made at a residence in Mount Lavinia following a tip-off received by the Walana Anti-Corruption Unit. The police revealed that the suspect had been preparing to flee the country. A 15-year-old sustained severe injuries and was admitted to the Badulla hospital following a deadly accident on the Bandar Naikamawati in Badulla. The accident had occurred after a van collided against a utility pole. It was revealed that the driver of the van was driving under the influence of alcohol at the time of the accident and was taken into police custody. In the meantime, a suspect under the alias Thalagura Sudha was arrested by the Morgahena police yesterday. The suspect was alleged to be a key member of a gang involved in the distribution of narcotics. Investigations further revealed that the gang in question is headed by a suspect who fled to India after his involvement in a double murder in Avisavella. In other news, a 15-foot-long crocodile was found in private land in Kovilagama, Kantale. The crocodile was captured with the assistance of the Kantale wildlife officials and was released to the Somavati reserve.
Welcome back. Now in your top business story for the evening, the annual liquor license fee imposed earlier this year, also including taverns and liquor retail outlets, were revised with effect from the 1st of February. According to the Minister of Finance, the fee of 25 million rupees imposed on new taverns is to remain unchanged, while the annual tavern license fee has been reduced from 25 million rupees to 2 million rupees. In the meantime, the license fee levied for the bottling of coconut toddy was reduced from 10 million rupees to 1.5 million rupees, while the bottling of Palmyra toddy was reduced to 500,000 rupees. The license fee for manufacturing vinegar saw a reduction of 2.5 million rupees to 500,000 rupees. Further, the retail license for liquor in municipal council areas was reduced to 1.5 million rupees from 1.5 million rupees rather to 1 million rupees, while the fee imposed in urban council areas was reduced to 12.5 million rupees to 800,000 rupees. The license fee of 10 million rupees imposed in all other areas was reduced to 600,000 rupees. Now, head of the State-owned Enterprise Restructuring Unit, Suresh Shah, says all SOEs will be subjected to a regulatory framework under the new SOE law. Addressing a seminar on enhancing efficiency of state-owned enterprises, Suresh Shah said a separate council similar to the Constitutional Council will be appointed to appoint board of directors to SOEs.
The new legislation will that bring a role of a regulator to govern and monitor the activities of this SOEs.
Very clearly, the SOEs will be subject to all the regulatory requirements, the regulatory framework in the country. It's a level playing field between the private sector and the state-owned enterprises. If regulation applies to a private sector entity, exactly the same regulation will apply in exactly the same way to the state-owned enterprise as well. At this moment, conceptually speaking, I believe that the regulation should override the holding company's mandate. So the regulator comes first and then the holding company. It's like any private sector enterprise. The regulator is supreme when compared to the shareholder, and that same principle will apply to the state-owned enterprise sector as well.
The appointments of board of directors, the president and the minister of finance is the same. So recently also we learned that President Wallan has something, right? So how do you manage those situations?
In terms of board appointments, what we have done is, there is a constitutional council that appoints members to the independent commissions. We've kind of created a similar mechanism for board appointments to the entire SOE sector. So yes, the finance minister will make the appointment, but the appointment will be based on recommendations that come from a group of independent individuals. And there is a process that we have put in place of getting those independent individuals.
By the name Edka, going to be signed in India, has created a lot of concerns among the professionals.
My personal feeling is that the free trade agreement with India is an absolute must. If we get into that free trade agreement, for every Sri Lankan business, our market size overnight increases from 22 million to 1.3 billion. Now, if you look at this from the, so suddenly we get a market of 1.3 billion. A market today which is 22 million becomes 1.3 billion. So we get tremendous access to a much bigger market because of that. If you look at this from the perspective of an Indian businessman, from a market of 1.3 billion, they get access to another just 22 million. So it's nothing. So from an Indian businessman's perspective, they don't get some massive advantage like Sri Lankan businesses will get. In Sri Lanka, if we are to attract investment, number one, our investment environment has to improve. We need to be welcoming of investors. But unfortunately in Sri Lanka, for some reason, the culture is that we don't really welcome investors. And you see the result. The result is that in no single year have we attracted $2 billion as FDI. And that tells you a story. So unless we change the economic environment in the country, the investment environment in the country, we are not going to attract the really top-notch investors into this country. And you know, Singapore is a brilliant example. A small country, it attracts the topmost investors in the world. Why? Because it has one of the best investing environments in the world. And we as a small country need to have that type of environment. We don't like to do free trade agreements. Some politicians will shout. We don't create the environment for investment in this country, unfortunately. So we need to get to that point. Then we will see the top-notch companies coming.
Now in your corporate developments, Hela Apparel Holdings PLC announced the purchase of 5 million company shares at ₹5 each by its Group Chief Executive Officer PLD Jinadasa. Meanwhile, Sanas Insurance Company PLC announced that the company was recently certified by Great Place to Work Sri Lanka. With that, here's a look at more corporate news in brief.
Hela Apparel Holdings PLC announced the disclosure made by the Group Chief Executive Officer PLD Jinadasa on the purchase of company shares. The company stated that the Executive Officer PLD Jinadasa has purchased 5 million shares of the company. The statement further added that the dealing took place on the 1st of February at ₹5 per share. In the meantime, Sanas Insurance Company PLC announced that the company and the certification by Great Place to Work for 2024 on workplace culture, employee experience, employee satisfaction, employee benefits and effective leadership. This certification was deducted through an independent company assessment based entirely on employees' feedback about their workplace experiences. Further, following a survey conducted recently on employee satisfaction and a high trust culture, more than 85% of the staff has recorded that they trust the management, self-driven culture with making a difference at work. In more corporate developments, Sri Lanka Telecom PLC announced the appointment of a director to the company. Accordingly, AKDDD Arandara was appointed as the non-independent non-executive director and the chairman of the board effective from the 1st of February.
That's all the news we have for you tonight. Thank you for watching us. Have a great night.